talk to you about my concept, which is the reverse office using a void. So it's about the spaces which aren't currently used at the moment, so basically in between the buildings. So I started off looking with my site research, looking at some key points that I found, and I made these into collages. So one of them was bridging the gap. So I noticed that the main road and the railway just completely blocked off and made it into two completely different sites. This one's called Bridging the Gap, and this one's called the Connected City. So Canary Wharf as a whole is very connected to the rest of London through Boris bikes, trains, DLR, underground, walking cars. The next one is the city that doesn't sleep, because it's like a 24-hour city that people don't work 9 to 5, they work from 7 to 11 or whatever, like every different hour. And then the next one is called the lone worker. So I noticed that there were people are very isolated, so they go around on their own in the lunchtime, they go to work every day on their own, and lead very independent existence within the area. And then this one's called the Island. So I noticed it was very, the site is like an island bubble, it's like on its own floating city, and then I was just playing around with like different densities within the area. So the site, I'm going to use this Canary Wharf, and I want the site to be multiple sites, so in between the buildings. This was just a really rough diagram that I did a while ago, and it's kind of going to change, but yeah, it's just like mapping out the potential sites where these like future offices could be. And then these are the site photos I took, and I was mainly concentrating on the spaces between the buildings and how they create these like quite interesting patterns of voids between the existing. So I started out looking at how I could bridge the gap between different buildings, and I was looking at how maybe how it could be like changing something flat into something 3D, so a bridge into a permanent into a space that could be quite dynamic. But I wasn't really sure about that idea, and I didn't really progress that any further. So I did some concept collages of just how like the spaces could be bridged, and they're all quite, yes. And like how people can maybe occupy them as walkways, but also places to sit and wait and connect to different offices with different types of people, different types of workers, but also the public. So the public brings the public into the building. So then I was looking at how maybe these could be attached to the building and like form like building blocks. So if an office needed an extra floor or something, they could literally build themselves extra like spaces, and then perhaps like covering them with these like domes to obviously create them like internal spaces that filter into the existing. This is like kind of like my reverse concept, if that makes sense. So I noted down the movements of a worker who worked in the HSBC building, and what I want to not create, I want to create the reverse of this, is the way that they come in on the train, then they get to the tube station, they don't even come outside, so they're in the tube, then they walk through the shopping centre to the HSBC entrance, and they go up the lift to their office. At lunch they go down again, sometimes to the canteen on first floor, other times to like Pret in here, then they go back to it, and then they go back on the train. So it's kind of, I want to create these areas which are outside the current offices. So I want to use the unused space in Canary Wharf. I want to puncture the office facade somehow, creating more connections with the outside world between existing buildings. And I think it'd be quite interesting to see what it'd be like in 100 years. So the existing buildings now become completely disused, and you get these buildings that are attached to the sides somehow. And then perhaps using concrete cloth, so it can kind of drape the building or like go inside the building somehow in a very fluid way. The 3D printed bricks, which is kind of what I did my montage with. So maybe you could like build bricks as you need to get some extra floor space. So you can have material made of caster beams, which is made some football boots, so it's like very sustainable, but it's very strong and light. And then aerogel, which is very thermal resistant and strong and then that's kind of a montage I did where I feel like the core of the buildings is the main problem, because I feel everyone in their office, they go up the core and then across, and so I want the core to be decentralised, and so it allows people that don't work in the offices to maybe go up them, and also people in the offices to go across, so it kind of, instead of having this up and down, it's across and spreading out into the exterior. So that's where I'm at the moment.
Very good, thanks. Interesting that you said you didn't want people